Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mary Osborne, the director of the Stewart House Museum, the birthplace of Kappa Kappa Gamma. In the 19th century, it was customary for parents to name their children after relatives, and the Stewart family was no exception. In fact, there are so many Jameses, Isabels, and Marys that it can be difficult to remember who's who. My hope is that this series of videos will help you untangle the Stewart family tree. Although we can trace the Stewart line back to Scotland, for the purposes of this video, we'll start with Minnie's paternal grandfather, the Reverend William K. Stewart. William was the first in the family to move west and settle in Illinois. William Kirkpatrick Stewart was born on September 14, 1790 in Rowan County, North Carolina, to James and Catherine Stewart. Presbyterianism was a significant influence on William's life, and he felt called to the ministry. He graduated from Hampton-Sydney College in Virginia, and in Tennessee he studied under the theologian and missionary Gideon Blackburn. Stewart was ordained as a Presbyterian minister in 1816. The following year, he married Lucretia P. Moore in Christian County, Kentucky. The Stewarts settled in western Kentucky, primarily in Elkton, Todd County, where they raised a family. Oldest son James, Minnie's father, was born in 1818. He was joined by a brother, William, the next year. The Reverend Stewart and his wife had two daughters as well. Mary was born in 1822, and Nancy was born in 1825. The Stewarts remained in Kentucky until the Board of Missions appointed William to Shelby County, Illinois, and then to Vandalia, the state capital at the time. He pastored churches in that town, which was part of the Kaskaskia Presbytery. His first church had 31 members. He also served as chaplain of the state legislature, which coincided with Abraham Lincoln's term as a congressman. In 1831, Stewart's wife Lucretia died of unknown causes, although an unpublished family history suggests that she had a delicate constitution and never fully acclimated to the strenuous pioneer life. Lucretia had been raised in South Carolina, where her family had enslaved people of color. The family history states, she could not endure the cold and attendant hardship of her new home. William's own views on slavery appear to be complicated. He did own several slaves, but whether these belonged to his late wife or he bought them himself is unknown. He also belonged to the American Colonization Society. After Lucretia Stewart died, William sent his sons off to Hanover College in Indiana, and he boarded his daughters with family friends. His daughters were still quite young and needed a mother's care. Mary and her younger sister Nancy, however, did not thrive in this situation, so William decided to remarry. The second Mrs. Stewart was Olive Prime. She was from an old established New England family. One of her cousins had been the governor of New Hampshire. The family suffered during the financial panic of 1837. Olive came west to tutor Mary and Nancy, and she married Reverend Stewart in 1833. By all accounts, Olive had had a harmonious relationship with Mary and Nancy when they were her students, but once she became their stepmother, the relationship soured, according to members of the Stewart family. She became a merciless tyrant toward her stepchildren, the family history records. Descendants of Reverend Stewart also claimed that the Primes suffered from hereditary insanity. It is rumored that Olive herself set a fire which ultimately took her life in 1874. By the time the Reverend Stewart remarried, his sons were nearly grown. James, the eldest, was the father of Minnie Stewart. He was born on January 5, 1818 in Elkton, Kentucky. He attended Hanover College in Indiana to prepare for a career in law. He graduated in 1836. James did not attend law school, for it was customary at that time to study under an established lawyer. Attorneys James Allen and Cyrus Walker of Macomb, Illinois, mentored Stewart until he was ready to sit for the bar examination. He was admitted to the bar at Springfield in 1840. The types of cases that he handled will be the subject of a future presentation. The practice of law had yet to become as specialized as it is today, and Stewart had to be more of a generalist. Some of his work involved drawing up and reviewing wills. In 1851, he was appointed state's attorney for the 15th Judicial Circuit. Early in his career, he practiced at Lewiston and Millersburg, Illinois. On June 30th, 1842, he married Isabel McCamey. During the first 10 years of their marriage, they had 10 children, but only 3 survived to adulthood: William, Isabel, and Mary, known in the family as Minnie. The Stewarts settled in Oquawka near the Mississippi River. Shortly before Minnie was born in 1852, the Reverend William K. Stewart died in Macomb. After 15 years in Oquawka, James and Isabel decided to move to Monmouth, and the rest, as they say, is history. Stewart continued to practice law, usually in partnership with 1 or 2 other attorneys. In 1881, when Anna Willett's father died unexpectedly, James completed his term as judge for Warren County, Illinois. He began his own 4-year term as judge the following year. One of the oldest practicing attorneys in the area, Stewart retired from active practice in 1886, although he continued to be involved with probate court. He suffered from rheumatism in his later years, and he and his wife Isabel spent winters in Florida, visiting with Minnie and her husband Lucius. On one of these trips, James Stewart died at his daughter's home in 1897. But what about the rest of the judge's siblings? All of them settled near Monmouth. William Wilberforce Stewart, the judge's younger brother, was born on August 19, 1819 in Elkton, Kentucky. William also attended Hanover College, but an eye injury prevented him from earning his degree. He turned to farming and purchased land near Bushnell, Illinois. William also served as a private in the Illinois militia, and his obituary states that he participated in the Mormon War in Illinois, which lasted from 1844 to 1846. In 1844, Governor Ford mustered troops to capture the murderers of Joseph and Hiram Smith. The brothers had been arrested and detained in the Carthage jail when they were killed. The governor later made a deal with the fugitives that he would call off the militia if they gave themselves up to be taken before the judge in Quincy. Under the command of General John J. Hardin, troops remained in Hancock County to maintain law and order. Hostilities ended in 1845. When the Mormons in Hancock County agreed to vacate the state by April of the following year. William Stewart presumably returned to his farm near Bushnell, and in May 1848 he married Martha Crawford. Together they had 8 children and were married over 50 years. William was known for his sense of humor, whereas his older brother James, Minnie's father, was known for his wit. In addition to maintaining his farm, William was elected the administrator of Walnut Grove Township in McDonough County beginning in 1868. William died in September 1903, and although the exact cause of death is unknown, he did suffer from Bright's disease. This disorder, named after physician Richard Bright, describes a collection of kidney diseases. Today, doctors might diagnose some of them as diabetic neuropathy. Symptoms of Bright's disease include edema, inflammation, hypertension, heart disease, and albumin, or protein, in the urine. Notable people who suffered from Bright's disease include Booker T. Washington, Alice Lee Hathaway Roosevelt, and Ty Cobb. Less is known about the Reverend Stewart's daughters, Mary and Nancy. Part of the reason is that as women, even educated women, they left few records behind. Once they married, their identities merged with that of their husbands, so we have to tell Mary's and Nancy's stories by tracing their husbands in the available primary sources. Mary, the elder of the Reverend Stewart's daughters, was born on December 29, 1822 in Elkton, Kentucky. She married John McKinney on February 16, 1847. McKinney was a merchant from Oquawka, and the couple made their home there. In 1873, they moved to Aledo, Illinois, where John opened a bank. Mary and John had 7 children, 5 of whom survived. Her husband died in 1892, and she survived him by 16 years. Mary died on April 14, 1908, as the result of a broken hip, which she sustained during a fall in late March. Mary's younger sister, Nancy, also married a merchant when she was 18. Nelson Montgomery was from Macomb, and they wed on September 3, 1844. The couple had 2 sons before Nelson died on December 18, 1847. Nancy married again on April 24, 1854, to James Matthews. James was the son of John Matthews, who taught theology at Hanover College. His son James also attended Hanover. In the 1860s, James served as the clerk for McDonough County. He and Nancy had 4 children of their own. He died in 1866. Nancy passed away in 1898, the same year as her niece, Minnie Stewart. I hope you enjoyed this initial look into the Stewart's family tree. In part 2, I will cover Minnie and some of her more famous cousins.